Hi and good evening to our event, the omni-channel marketing for internet business success. Uh, we are going to be starting very soon. We are just waiting for two of our other speakers to join in, Ambrish Gupta and Harsimran Julka from Economic Times. But we have the pleasure of Deepak Abbott, who's joined us. And I'm just going to pass on the mic to Deepak just to introduce himself. And after that, I'm going to talk about what GBG, the Google Business Group, is all about. And then Deepak is going to really give us a very insightful presentation and talk about mobile, marketing, app analytics, and really this entire app ecosystem which is growing up so fast. Okay, so I'm just going to hand over the mic to Deepak for introduction.
Thanks, Steven. Hi, guys. I'm Deepak Abbott, and I currently head strategy for Times Internet for their mobile initiatives. I've recently joined actually. I was with Paytm, which is a mobile commerce company. I was there for 2 years heading their product and marketing. And that's where actually I started learning about mobile marketing. In fact, mobile marketing in itself is a very young concept. Just about 2 years back, everyone started focusing on mobile. So that's what I think I'm going to share some of my knowledge which I've acquired in the last 2 years. And hopefully, you find it insightful.
Thank you so much, Deepak. It's a pleasure having you here with us. Great. So we are just going to start really talking about what Google Business Group is all about. My name is. Just reduce the voice. This voice. It's echoing. Okay. Oh, that is off. Hi, Ambrish. So Ambrish has just joined us, as you can see, guys. We are live right now, Ambrish, so you can join us. Thank you so much. I'm just going to pass on the mic to Ambrish for a quick introduction, and then I'll talk about GBG.
Hi, I'm Ambarish Gupta, founder and CEO of Nolarity Communications. You guys are sitting in Nolarity Communications. This is used to be cafeteria, but I think converted into these kind of conferences as and when needed. So welcome here and look forward to interesting conversations here.
Thank you so much, Ambrish. Always a pleasure having you here. And this wouldn't have been possible without Nolarity support, so we are very thankful to Nolarity for that. So Google Business Group is really an organization that was, or an initiative that was kickstarted by Google to help and bring people from the world of technology, business together and share best practices for internet success. We do this to ensure that there's access to free information that people can learn from industry leaders, people from thought leaders, people who have done it before, who have failed and again got up and started running. All the events are free. We are currently spread across pretty much the entire world. In India, we have about 15 to 16 active chapters. I lead the Delhi chapter. I also lead the entire India group of GBG managers in terms of mentoring them of how to go about setting up engaging communities. And then I'm very pleased to have this event today as part of our GBG Delhi Knowledge Series event, where we're going to be really discussing about how omni-channel marketing is required. It's no longer a luxury, but it's actually required for success in a world where there's so much of noise by pretty much all the brands. So we're going to really request now Deepak to give us a very insightful talk about the mobile app and ecosystem, and then what is required to be looked into for anyone who's wanting to either go into that field or somebody who's already into that field. Okay, Deepak, over to you. Yeah, so we're just going to walk with Deepak to his presentation area and switch the camera to that angle.
Should I start? So, as I mentioned in my intro, so I've been doing mobile marketing and product for a couple of big mobile apps for last couple of years. Started with Paytm. Paytm, is one of the biggest m-commerce apps in India. And currently I'm working with Times, looking at some of their bigger apps like TOI, Ghana, NBT, and ClickBuzz and Coupon Dunia. So what I do is I look at opportunities to grow inorganically in the mobile ecosystem space. And I specifically focus on the mobile app ecosystem. Because mobile today is classified into, so you also have users who are on mobile browser, but then more and more users with smartphones coming in are shifting to mobile apps, and that's what I think I believe the future would be. So what I'm gonna do today is I have a quick presentation about 7-8 slides. I can go deep depending on your interest, but the idea is to understand what mobile marketing is all about. Is it similar to what you do it on desktop, what a traditional digital marketing has been, or is it slightly different? And what skills you need to be in that space. If you have interest, let's say you're starting up in the mobile space, obviously this will be helpful. If you want to get into mobile marketing as a domain, definitely helpful. And also if you're in the product space, because mobile marketing is nothing but, it's very close to product marketing as well. So there are a lot of product management skills required to do mobile marketing, and I'll cover that in a bit. So I think the basic question first, what exactly is mobile marketing? Is it about driving app installs? Is it about putting your banner on, let's say, mobile sites or mobile apps? Driving engagement on smartphones, you want users to keep on using your app, or doing some bit of data analytics around what users are doing and what's their behavior on the different apps which you have. That's what I think typically a marketing is, and mobile marketing includes all of that. So unlike traditional marketing where a marketer would go to a product guy and say, I want to promote this thing and I want you to monitor all the data points for me and tell me if that campaign worked or not. Then product manager would take over and then work along with the marketing guy and see if that campaign works or not. But in this case, I think mobile marketing guy has to be more like a product guy rather than a pure marketing guy. So when I say product guy, and I'll explain you why, because it's slightly more technical than just running a campaign across different networks. Why it is technical? Because if you look at this is all what a mobile marketing guy needs to know. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all these. The idea is that mobile marketing includes stuff like attribution, tracking, app store optimization, A/B testing, working with different ad networks, working with different cross-promotion networks, looking at analytics, in-app engagement using push notification, feedback tools. So all these tools, a mobile marketing guy needs to really understand and work on. So that's why I'm saying, it's slightly more technical than what you see in the traditional marketing space. And if you look at the consumer lifecycle management for mobile, for that matter, any product, be it mobile or desktop, it starts with the acquisition, goes into engagement, then you need to monetize. Obviously, you need to analyze what users are doing, definitely serve them, and then, if some of them are leaving, you need to retain them back and win them back. So I'm going to cover, because mobile marketing is basically not just acquire ends here. It actually, is important at every stage. You don't just, get the app installed done and your job is finished. That's not mobile marketing is. You actually have to make sure that the end objective of the user is to stay back on your site or on your app is also served through mobile marketing. So I'll briefly talk about each of these sections and what exactly you need to do within that. For example, acquisition. Now, how would you acquire a user? Let's say you have a website and you want to acquire new users. You would put it on, you would put a URL of your website on different social networks, or if you're doing a paid campaign, you would work with different networks, put it on Facebook, Google AdWords. That's how you just have a URL. You know which section you want users to go in. You design the landing page, and it actually users start coming in depending on how you're promoting it. But for apps, it's slightly challenging. Why I'm saying slightly challenging? Because when somebody has to install your app, they first have to go to Play Store. They have to install your app, and then they start using your app. Unlike a website where you have a URL, in apps you have an app store URL, and then users download your app, and within the app it's not a URL system where they navigate the way you used to do on your website. So one thing which you need to see is like you see it on desktop, from where the users are coming in from, right? Unlike website, here's a intermediary page called Play Store section where users first land and then come to you. So app has to understand that where users actually came from to your app, so that tomorrow when you're doing your scaling up your campaigns, you should know which source works for you, right? So if you're, let's say, I'm not even talking about paid marketing. For example, even if you're doing marketing with your peer group or your friends, or putting it on social network, putting it on Twitter, Facebook, you should know which source works really well for you. You're putting your link on blog, you should know which blog delivers you better app installs. So how do you track that? So that is called attribution tracking, that which source would you attribute your installs to. So there are tools which are available. If you're building your own app, there are attribution tools which are specifically made for this. And so I have a section later on, I'll talk about those tools briefly. But you need to integrate those SDK. What that SDK does is, it actually delivers you a URL, which is not a Play Store URL, and you have to distribute that URL. And anybody who clicks on that URL, it gets stored in your analytics tool that, okay, users are coming in from here. So even if you're doing paid marketing, free marketing, you'll actually get in your panel that users came in from source X, source A, source B, source C, and not that. What do you do beyond that? Because users have come into your site, but are they, or your app, are they useful? Are they spending time with your app? Are they coming back into your app? That's what is more important for a mobile marketing guy. It's not just like I mentioned, not just making them install the app. So these tools, attribution tools, will also help you find the quality of the users. So tomorrow, let's say you're doing a paid campaign with 5 different networks. Let's say InMobi, Comly, VServe, Facebook, Google, and you spend, let's say, 10,000 rupees on each of these networks. Now, how would you know that where to increase your budgets and where to reduce your spends, right? For that, you need to know the quality of the user. So these tools, these attribution tools, will actually help you know if these users actually stayed back with you, they came back, did they spend enough time in your app? And obviously, those are metrics which you need to know, which are those metrics which you need to measure. I'll briefly cover that as well. Second thing which you need to do to acquire, besides, of course, doing paid campaigns and giving your URL links to different sources, is it's a term called ASO. Now, ASO is basically search engine optimization is for desktop, app store optimization is for apps. Now, what you do in ASO, you have a page on your app store which has your app name, app title, app description, images. So all these are very, very critical components of your app store optimization strategy. You need to be, so for example, if you're making an app on, let's say, restaurants, right? You need to be sure that what users are, so like you do it in SEO, you optimize for few keywords, right? Here also you optimize your description, your title, and everything around your app, around those keywords. And also, there are users who would write reviews, right? Now that's your another, so Google, for example, in the Play Store, they have this restrictive policy of not allowing you to repeat your keywords like they have it for SEO, right? They're very strict on SEO, things you can't do. Now they are getting strict on ASO as well. So how you really actually add more and more keywords without really violating any of these Google policies. So those are things which you need to learn in ASO, and I think very briefly, if I have to explain that in 1 minute, you basically look at the app title, which should definitely convey what your app is all about. Unless, of course, you're a big brand, you can spend enough money and tell people that, my app, if it is, let's say, app called Swerve. Now, Swerve in itself doesn't explain what it is. But if you got good money and you can spend and tell people what it is, then it is fine. But otherwise, you need to tell it is, what it is doing. So title is important, description definitely. App icon is very important because that's the first thing when you search for an app. That's the first thing you see. So what your app icon is delivering is something which, it depends on the quality of the icon. And also, when people start writing reviews, that's also getting indexed by Google. Now, what you have to do very smartly is, for example, I'll take Paytm's example. There are a lot of people who would search free charge as well, which is Paytm's competition in Play Store. And how do we make sure that Paytm also comes up as number 1 or number 2? If not number 1, at least number 2. And obviously, I can't write directly free charge in my description. So how do I really bring in free charge users to my app? So opportunity is in the review replies. So people who are writing reviews to you, just reply to them and very smartly try and include free charge keyword or any other keyword you want people to really. For example, you want Airtel and Vodafone kind of users to come in. So use that word smartly in the replies, because that's where Google doesn't really penalize you, because you're genuinely trying to reply each and every customer who's writing a review on your site, right? So if there are 1,000 people writing reviews, you got 1,000 times opportunity to reuse the keywords which you really want to highlight. Another thing which is very, very important. Now, generally when we have to submit an app, we say, okay, we'll put it on Play Store for Google, and for iOS, we'll put it on Apple Store. But I think what most of the app developers, initially people who are starting, they miss out on, there are a lot of alternate opportunities available for you to distribute apps, especially in the Android space. There's app stores like Amazon, app stores, Mobango, GetJar, Snappy, Movogenie. You'd be surprised to know that 20% of these app installs happening in India are happening from non-Play Store app stores. So it's very important for you to make sure that your app is available not just on Play Store, but any Play Store you come up, any app store you come across. So I've listed 4 or 5. There are at least 20 such app stores which are decently popular in India. In fact, you'll be surprised to know that for Paytm, Mobango and GetJar used to deliver almost about 10,000 installs a day. Now, that's a huge number. So why to miss out on those additional 10,000? So it's important for you to really go wide and make sure that your app is available. Of course, if you got good contacts in the industry, you can look at pre-bundling with OEMs. But that's slightly tough because most of these OEMs are now very restrictive about the kind of apps they want to put in. But yeah, that's another opportunity for you to really go wide on day one. Of course, you can do link exchange and cross promotion with your friends or apps or publishers you know really well. You can promote each other's apps. So that's something which works when you don't have cash to spend on driving installs. So that's briefly what acquire involves. Moving on to the next step where you have to engage your users. Obviously, unlike website where you would send emails and there's a traditional way of bringing the user back. Equivalent of that on the app side is the push notification, right? You must be, if you've got all these got smartphones, you must be getting a lot of push notifications every day from the apps, right? That's their way of bringing you back, right? Now, one way is that I have my app installed in your phone. I keep sending you push notification, one generic push notification to you every day, which is similar to the spam mail which you used to get, right? Now, that's something which is not definitely going to work. You need to develop a proper science behind it. What exactly? So the way some traditional companies, they develop science behind email marketing. You would only get emails which are more relevant to you. Like Amazon would, for their shopping site, they would send mails to you depending on what you browsed on their site and what they feel you would be buying next. So you need to develop that same science for push notification, which I think is still a little early for, at least for Indian ecosystem. I have not seen many Indian app publishers really utilizing app push notification that well, but it will evolve, and that's one tool which is very, very important, because what I've seen is the time you send a push notification, your peak concurrency goes up by almost by 10-15x. So if you've got 1,000 users right on your app, sending a push notification, of course, depending on the traffic or depending on the install volume you have, it goes up by 10 to 15x. So that's definitely an opportunity to bring a lot of new users. But it's all about giving them a right message and making sure. Okay, another very important thing is when you set a push notification, uninstall rates would go up. Now, why that happens? I have an app installed on my phone, and suddenly I get a push notification from, let's say, Jabong's app. I have never used that app. And that reminds you why this app is still on my phone. So I would uninstall the app. So it's very important for you to make sure that, so that's the reason I think push notification is a tool which has to be used very selectively. Second thing is set a particular section where you feel that, this user based on past history has a better chance of, let's say, buying something. So what if I can pop up a 25% or a 20% extra coupon to this guy, only for this guy, for that particular category? So that's something which in-app engagement tool will actually help you. So those tools, coupled with, of course, the science behind those messages, would actually help you convert and engage users to some extent. And obviously, then your basic stuff like you need to make sure that all your apps have social plugins so that users are connected. Whenever I'm shopping today, I would like to tell the world what I'm buying, or I would like to take the feedback on what I'm buying. Or for example, if I'm doing a simple search or using, let's say, a restaurant service and I'm rating it in Zomato, I just want to tell the world that I went to this restaurant and I rated it. So all those plugins which will help you to keep the users engaged, because they generally feel good about talking about it, right? And the next step, you have the app live. You also have engaging users. How do you monetize? So there are primarily two ways to monetize. One is if you got a content app or a app which is mostly around driving traffic, then you need to monetize using advertising. There are tools available again. You can use AdSense for mobile, which is Google AdSense. You can go to ad networks. Now, unlike, again, here, the difference is a website is very easy. I just put a HTML tag or a JavaScript for any network. Your banner will start showing. But in this case, it's an app. I need to have an SDK in place. So if you're working with InMobi would say, put my SDK. If you're working with Google AdSense, they would expect their SDK to be in the app. And if you're working with, let's say, if you want V7 Comely to monetize, they would need their own SDK. So it's not that simple to switch SDKs, right? So you need to be very, very careful about the partner you choose for monetization. Obviously, there are tools available which will actually help you switch between these different ad networks instantly. So if you have, I don't know if you've heard about a tool called Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is just a container which you put in your app, and then anything you have to add to your app, you actually do it through Google Tag Manager's web view. So you don't really open the app. You actually do it inside Google Tag Manager, and it gets reflected in your app. So that's what I think most of the app developers are moving to, because they also realize that today, this month, InMobi might be good for me, but next month they are not delivering, so I need to switch to vServe. So how do I do that without really changing my app? So I actually go to Google Tag Manager, I remove InMobi, I add any other network, and their ads start showing, right? So very important for you to understand that it's not, so you need to be aware of those tools which will help you make it easier for you. A lot of other tools are available. I'm talking about only free tools, so that, for example, there's another tool called Segmented.io, but that is a paid tool. The more visitors you get, more events you get, you have to pay for it. So I'm only talking about free tools, which is generally Google tools. So feel free to use those tools as much as you can, and they are generally good tools. They are not necessarily free. They are not good. Another way of monetization, which is the most popular monetization model worldwide, is freemium, which is in-app purchases. Now, in-app purchases can be, if it is a game, people can buy levels, people can buy coins to unlock few things. You can make an app ad-free. For example, for Ghana app which we have, if you pay $120, you will not get ads, and you can also download songs, right? So those are things which will push users to pay into your app, and that's becoming the most popular monetization model for apps. And if you see App Store statistics, almost 80% of the apps are freemium apps. Very few apps are now charging upfront, because that model is declining very fast. Now, if you see an app which is priced at $120 or $60, your propensity to download that app will be much, much lower. So everyone has realized that 2 years back, world has, obviously there are still 20% apps which are paid apps, but it's moving very fast towards freemium. And of course, third model to monetize is your actual physical commerce. You sell products and services like Flipkart or Snapdeal or Paytm or apps like that. Okay, now you've done everything. You've started monetizing as well, and you've got tons of users. The next important thing, in fact, not just the next important thing, is the most important thing, is that you need to do a very, very good data analytics. You need to really understand what users are doing. You need to really measure the right kind of metrics, and not just for the. So it's basically for everyone, from the app developer to product guy to marketing guy to the business owner. They all need to know the right metrics for them to really. For example, if you're a marketing guy, you need to know the quality of the users, if they actually spend good enough time with you. If it's a technical guy, you should know, okay, which operating system is mostly used, which kind of smartphones are being used, so that they can optimize which kind of screen resolutions. So for every person, there's a different objective which analytic tools can serve. So, but key metrics which for everyone is important in the company, if you are doing a mobile app, is the app usage, which is your MAU, monthly active users, daily active users, total installs. Now that's very important because, in fact, more than installs, we generally, whenever we go out and talk about apps and apps growth, everyone talks about app installs. Now, app install is a very, I would say, poor way of showing your app's growth, because I have seen lots of apps which have got millions of app installs, but hardly any active users. So if you have users installed your app, but they are not using it, it's seriously useless. So MAU is the key. MAU is the key metrics which you need to be really, really on top of, because it's like I mentioned, the whole objective is to make sure your users are coming back into your app. So definitely MAU. Next is DAU. So you got 1,000. So you got, let's say, 10,000 installs. If 5,000 people are coming monthly, but there are about 100 people coming daily, that means there's something wrong with your app. The people are not coming regularly. So you need to make sure your DAU is also up. right? So that if more and more users who are coming to your app daily, chances are that your active rate overall would be much, much higher. But if they're using once a week, once a fortnight, once a month, MAU may look good, but your DAU and all those things will reveal that there's something wrong with the engagement quotient of your app. So that's also very important. Another thing, of course, if it's a paid app, premium app, or even if you're doing advertising, what's the ARPU? What exactly is the revenue per user earning for you? So if it is freemium, then you know that out of 100 users, only about 1% users would actually do in-app purchases, and they would spend, let's say, $2. So you need to understand those metrics and see, okay, what's the kind of, and why you need to understand ARPU. Because end of the day, if your earning from a user is X dollar, you can't spend more than X dollar in acquiring that user, right? So it's very, very important for you, especially for a marketing guy. He should definitely know what my ARPU is so that he's not spending more than what is required. And of course, retention, or how do you actually measure retention? The most simplest thing is that you look at cohorts. Now, cohorts are basically, you try and create buckets of users and see how often they come back to your app. Now, depending on, what's the starting, so for example, the most basic cohort you can look at is if a user who installs my app on day one, now, till when they are active and how often they are coming. So on day 2, how many of those users who came on day 1 came back on day 3 of week 1, week 2, week 3, depending on your app category, you can actually look at either weekly or monthly or daily. Daily is too, I think, aggressive. I think weekly is fine. So let's say if week 1 you acquired 10,000 users. Now you need your tool, you have to check that those 10,000 users who came in week 1, how many of them are coming in week 2, and then week 3, and week 4. So let's say if you get to see that by week 4, all of your users have gone, there's something definitely wrong about the way you are acquiring users, or definitely wrong about your product. So you need to be really careful. So that's one key metric which will be helpful for both product guy and a marketing guy, because product guy will see the actual usage of the product is good or not, and marketing guy will see if the quality of the users which they got in are staying back or not. Another thing linked to ARPU is the LTV, which is lifetime value of the user. Very often used. It's basically the money throughout the life a user will spend in your app, which is, so if I'm today, this month I spent $2 buying, let's say, some coins in my Candy Crush game, and next month I spend $1, and throughout the year I spend about $4-5. So and then I stop playing the game. $5 is my LTV in that game or in that app. So that's also very important for both for a product and marketing guy to know. And third thing is user feedback. Now, how do you see? So when you go to any app, Play Store, you see the app description. You see a lot of reviews written there, right? And that's where you actually get the pulse of users. What kind of reviews are they writing about your app? What kind of ratings are they giving you? So for a marketing guy, it's very, very important to read each and every review. If possible, reply to each of those reviews. And those are the reviews where it actually will give you much better insights than talking to 10 people sitting in your company, or maybe 20 people, you set up a core group of testers. So it's always good to read those user feedback, not just on App Store, but be it on social media, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere you see your users are talking about your app, just make sure that you're reading what they're writing, right? So analytics is the most important thing. If you're not on top of your analytics, you'll actually miss out on a lot of important data. And then how do you serve these users? Customer service, I think the agenda for today after this presentation is that how do we do this omni-channel customer service? Now, especially in this day and age when users are very impatient, 3-4 years back we used to write mails and expect, and we used to get those auto replies that someone will reply in 24 hours, and after 24 hours we'll get a little impatient and maybe write another mail. But now with the age of Twitter, and Facebook, everyone is expecting instant reply, right? So their expectation and patience level have changed, and also they want to have their queries resolved instantly, because everyone is, and plus of course it's not just app, but it applies to websites also, that everyone is looking at instant resolution. So how do you really make sure that you don't let those queries go out of hand, and make sure that users are constantly being served? So again, a lot of tools will help you. There are tools which can help you create your in-app help desk. So the way you have it on your website, you have those tools which will pop up if somebody is facing an issue of, let's say there's a bug which comes up or a crash which comes up, there's a pop-up which can come in and help the user, or somebody is trying to get more information about a product, they can actually ask somebody to help them. And also give them clear indication on how can they approach you. So if there's, let's say if you don't have a live support and you have an email support or a Twitter support, just make sure it is prominently displayed inside the app so that users feel comfortable when they are browsing and they're facing any issue. Because if it is hidden under some contact us or some settings and then you have your email ID there, I mean that's not a good way to actually push customer service. And of course you need to constantly monitor your social media, all your streams, what's happening there. Another very interesting thing which most of the app developers are doing, app publishers are doing right now is, if you look at the rating mechanism, how Google rates your app, one of the very important, besides of course uninstall rate and active rate and all that, one of the very important factor there is the average app rating. Right? Higher the rating, Google will, chances are that Google will position you better than your competition. So you need to be very, very particular about the kind of ratings which users are giving you. Now obviously you can't, if somebody is facing an issue, you can't hold that guy's hand, but there are tools available to actually hold that guy's hand and say, hey, don't post this negative review, I'm there to help you. So what actually happens is that you actually encourage, you must have seen when you're using an app, there's a prompt which comes in, rate our app, right? Now when you rate the app, if it is a 5-star or a 4-star rating, it let you go to the Play Store, but if it's a 3 or 2-star rating, it doesn't go to Play Store, it comes to you. So your chances are that users who are going to rate you less than 4, they would actually write to you instead of writing it on Play Store. So that's another way of stopping users to. So it's not about just gaming the rating system at Google, but also helping you get more insights about your app and how users are feeling about your app. And obviously I think bug testing is something which is very, very critical, not just for app but for every product that you develop. And again, there are a lot of tools available which will help you do bug testing on the fly. Now you've done everything, you've monetized, you've analyzed, you've engaged the users, but there are some users who will still not come to your app, right? There are some users who will still go inactive. So how do you really bring them back? You must have seen when you're buying a ticket, let's say on ClearTrip on desktop, and then you go to any other site, you see they're pushing the same banner around you, or you're buying a shoe from Flipkart, you see that banner all over. That's called remarketing on desktop. Now remarketing on mobile is also now becoming increasingly popular because I think world has moved from just installs to active base, and since active base, it has also moved on from those lot of active users who are getting inactive. Now everyone wants to get them back also because competition is increasing, the base is still limited, so everyone wants to bring those users back. So remarketing is getting really popular on the mobile front as well. Obviously, you can do remarketing using Facebook, Google, or any other ad network. Unlike again, desktop where you just drop a JavaScript in your website and remarketing works for you automatically because that's how these Facebook and Google and other networks have made it easy for you. But in app, it's the SDK mess which you need to sort out. You need to, for example, if you're doing remarketing with Facebook, you need to integrate the Facebook SDK. You need to create events. Now, events is something which is very, very new to, or not new, which is very, very unique to mobile apps. Now, unlike website where everything is captured the moment you drop a JavaScript, in mobile app, you need to define what you need to capture. Now, that's again a joint decision between a marketing and a product guy in deciding what events are important for them to track. Is it a login inside the app? Is it somebody reading an article? Is it somebody buying? Or is it somebody rating my rating my product inside the app? So all these are events inside the app. So you need to be clear what events you want to track, which are really critical for you to understand, okay, how your app is being used. So you need to set up those events because your remarketing would actually depend on the kind of events you've set. For example, I have in Paytm's app, somebody is trying to recharge their Airtel prepaid, right? Now, in the app, we've set an event called track the operator of that user. So that event is tracked. Now that user has not recharged or recharged has not come back for 7, 8 days, 10 days or 15 days. So there's a logic that if user is not coming back for 10 days, you need to bring that user back because the average recharge behavior is that every 8 days they would recharge. Now they're opening, let's say they are on Times of India app, and or let's say they are on Facebook app. So since I've captured the event that user was an Airtel user and now he's using Facebook app, I would actually show a custom banner to him saying, hey, your Airtel phone might be out of recharge. Why don't you, come back and recharge now? So those are things which you, otherwise, I would have just, because I just know that, yeah, this user came to my app and, he has not come back in last 7 days. I will show a generic ad, hey, come to Paytm app, we're missing you. So there's a difference. So obviously it's all about CTRs, how will you get more clicks? So that's what you do in Facebook. You integrate SDK, set up events, you create audiences. Now audiences is, like Facebook has their own list of how you, so there are different ways you can upload your own audience. You can use Facebook's audience list. Another interesting thing is deep links. Now deep links is very, very unique term to mobile apps, which is very simple. So deep links are actually URL equivalent of an app. Like you have a URL for your website. Now deep links are like URL for your app. Now you want somebody to, let's say Flipkart wants somebody to directly open their Nike shoe page inside their app. So they would actually have a format which is called deep link embedded in the remarketing, so that when somebody is clicking on that banner, they directly come to the Nike page and not on the app's home page. So that's, so deep linking, unlike URL, there's no copy paste and you do it. You need to really enable deep linking in your apps, and it requires a bit of development effort. So if you're interested, just read more about it. I mean, that's definitely very, very important for any app developer who are launching their app to enable deep links. In fact, deep links are also becoming very important for search now. So Google increasingly is now on their mobile are now throwing app search results. Now if somebody is searching for, let's say restaurant in Cyber Hub, right? Traditionally, Google would show Zomato's m.zomato.com link or m.timecity.com link, and user would go there. But now with Zomato's app and TimeCity app got deep links enabled, they'll actually take the user inside the app directly to that restaurant page. So that will only happen if you have deep links enabled and you index your app with Google. So it's very, very important that if you want to write the search, so Google obviously is lagging behind the mobile search, but obviously, for them it is their main business. So if you really want to, make sure that you get whatever traffic mobile search is getting, you should definitely look at deep links and indexing with Google. Now, obviously, you can Google about it and you'll get a lot more information about it. Similarly, with Google, you drop a remarketing code in your app, and which is similar to the SDK, and you create a remarketing list in AdWords and start remarketing. So it's unlike desktop where you see where you see your ads on different websites. Here you see your ad in different apps. So let's say Google SDK is integrated with Book My Show app. Book My Show will show Paytm's remarketing ad and stuff like that. So depending on where the user is going, your user is going. So I was talking about all the tools, which will be helpful for you to use, and I think I've listed down some really, really critical ones. Obviously, there's no end to it. I have a URL to share, which I can share after this, which has a list of many URLs, many tools. Most basic ones. First thing is you need for analytics. So you got Google Analytics, which is free. Google Analytics for mobile, which is different from Google Analytics for desktop. And there are tools like Mixpanel, Flurry, which will help you do all the analysis which I was talking about. And then I spoke about attribution, that how do you really track the source. Now tools like HasOffers, Mat, AppSalar, Localytics, AppsFlyer, AdX, there are tons of them. They actually all help you track the source of your campaigns. Obviously, they also help you track the quality of the users. And then we spoke about push notification, in-app engagement. Now tools like Urban Airship will help you send push notification. Depending on how you configure it, it can actually send custom push notification to a user who's configured in a way that only that user is receiving based on his in-app behavior. And then Parsverb, which will actually help you create in-app custom messages for some users. And then last thing is you should be on top of all the bugs and errors and crashes which are happening inside your app. So tools like Criticism, Crashalytics, Hockey app, they actually help you detect all these errors and bugs which are happening inside the app so that you can really fix it. Because any bug or crash which goes unnoticed can actually create a lot of problem later on. So it's important for you to at least have at least have 4 basic SDKs. You can select any of these. Obviously, the list is long, but I would recommend if you're starting your app for the first time, just make sure that at least these 4 things are definitely there. Now, generally we all talk about positive things, and we say, this is what you need to do to grow, and this is what you need to do to really excel in your domain. But unlike desktop, where the indicators of success was also slow to come in mobile, the success may come later, but indicators of success are seen very clearly, very quickly, because the ecosystem is changing so fast. You need to be very, very clear, or you need to be aware of those indicators and make sure that you don't fall below certain metrics, and when do you really move on from working on that app. So basically, in other words, when you really stop working on the product which you're so passionate about. So if, let's say, you lost the app, it's been 6 months, and it's a consumer app, I'm saying, and you've done only 10K downloads. Now that's a worrisome sign, because the kind of volume India has today, about 150 million, 100 million smartphones. Many of them actually got good 2G, 3G connection. And if they are not discovering your app, they are not downloading your app, even after 6 months of launch, there's definitely some problem with your app. If your first 1,000 ratings are less than 3, definitely, and I'm saying 1,000 ratings, first 100 can be less than 3, 200, 300, because you're still improving your app. But by the time you receive 1,000 install, that means 1,000 ratings, that means you would have done at least under 1,000 installs. So if your rating is less than 3, definitely a worrisome sign. If you read all the reviews and 70% reviews are negative, and assuming that you've crossed 1,000 ratings, your 70% reviews are negative, is again red alert. There's no word of mouth. You search on Twitter, you search on Facebook, you search on Google Blogs, nobody's talking about your app. Another sign which you should be worrying about. If it's a premium app and you're doing, let's say if it's a gaming app or a app where you're selling some in-app items, and your conversion is less than 0.1%. Now worldwide standard is about 1.5, 2%. Some apps can go as high as 3 to 4%. Bad apps can be 0.4, 0.3. Really, really bad apps are 0.1%. So if you actually are consistently for 6 months are operating at less than 0.1%, another sign that you should definitely move on, or you really do something drastic about your app. And your active base. So today you've got 100,000 installs, right? But if you have only about 5,000 users using your app, which is less than 5%, 4,999 users, that's also a bad sign to have. And last, which is the most important one, your uninstall rate. Now when you log into your Play Store dashboard, so Apple doesn't give uninstall, but since India is primarily an Android country, Android has this uninstall number as well reflected in the Play Store dashboard. Just make sure that it is on an average less than 50 to 60%. That's what most of the apps operate at. But if it is more than 90%, that means you're actually not adding net users every day. So very, very important sign for you to look at and see when do you really want to stop working on your app and start working on something else. So that's it. I think that's what I really wanted to talk about today. So
Deepak, thanks a lot for that. That was really, really a nice way to do this. I just really would like to invite people to have questions, because I think this was a master session, to be honest. To talk about such an extensive network on how do you really get your mobile app game playing on. This was really done brilliantly. So I would invite you guys to ask questions. Deepak is here right now. You usually won't have access to guys like him with his knowledge and expertise level. So please feel free to ask questions that you think are going to be helpful for you. Who wants to go first? Yeah. Can you say your name and then your question, please? Yeah. Come. Just to let everyone know, this event is being live telecasted on YouTube, so you get featured on your video for posterity.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, hi, I'm Ishan, and I'm a BTech third year CSE guy, and I'm very much interested in mobile development. So we primarily into Android. So I made this little team, and we call it a startup, but it's a good team. So I have a team of 3 to 4 people, and we have developed we have so to say, we have silly little apps on the Play Store. So we have 2 of them, and they're live. And I know. Yeah, I have 0.1% of 10,000 downloads.
Okay.
So yeah, so obviously it's not a consumer app, but I would like, what my question will be, for people like us, is monetizing, like how to go about monetizing. Number one, like, because our apps, for example, one of them focuses on an event which happened in a college, like a fest. So it was festival. So we did get the number of, if the number of attendances was say like 1,000, we did get about 250 to 500 downloads. We got that, and then they got uninstalled. Obviously, they will, because it's an event app. So we did not think about monetizing it then and there. So if we make something like that in the future, question number one, at what stage of the app should I add the monetization to it? Question number two, how to maintain that? And question number three, can I actually drive money out of that little app in any way? So 3 questions.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, monetization, as I mentioned, depends on the kind of app you're building. Like, for example, in your case, you build an event app.
Yeah.
So it's generally free for everyone to download, and it's general browsing, right?
Yeah.
So I would rather monetize it using sponsorship and not advertising. Yeah. So I would rather, in your case, which is a limited release and it's going to limited set of users, I would rather go to like events would go to sponsors, right, and take a lump sum money. Because if you calculate a per user cost and you do a impression and CPM and those typical methods to calculate the revenue, you won't make much money with 250, 500 users. So I would actually go to a brand, say, okay, give me 20,000 rupees or 40,000 rupees, and I will feature you for 5 days or 10 days. But the moment you hit, let's say, 5,000 users a day, then you're generating close to 15,000 sessions a day, right? Each user looking at 3 screens. So session is, each user spending multiple time coming to your app, spending more, looking at different screens. Each session you have, let's say, user looking at 2 or 3 ads, banner ads, maybe 2. So you got 15 into 30,000 ads being served every day, right? So now you can go to an ad network, any private ad network, or Google. You don't need to go to any ad network. Just go to Google, download their SDK. Google will start monetizing it for you. So just to give you an example, if it is 30,000 ads a day, at about I think you'll start making about 600 to 700 rupees a day, which is not bad, considering, you've got a very small base. And now if you actually are aggressive, you can go and sell directly. This 600-700 can become 6,000, because Google will always be 1/10 of what you can actually make out of your app, right? But the advantage is that you don't need to have a sales team, somebody else is monetizing. But if you actually got a guy who can go to advertisers and get money, this can become 6,000, 7,000. And that's the potential of an app which is just doing about 5,000 users a day. So the moment you make it 50,000, this 6,000 becomes 60,000 every day and 18 lakhs a month, right? So that's the maths you need to apply.
But then again, can I add on another question? Yeah. So if it's an event app, obviously people will go and uninstall it after. Yeah. So it has to be. So Google will be good to start with, right? Yeah. Okay. Google will be good to start with for something like our college students. So if we make another app in future, we'll start off with Google. Again, the stage where we should add the monetizing stuff. Right from the beginning, or
you've got 3,000-4,000 users a day. That's not monetizing. Before that, don't even attempt, because you're affecting. Because end of the day, any ad which you show in the app is affecting user experience. Right? So you need to make sure that you only do it when you have enough number of users that even if you lose 10-15%, you still have some users left.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ishan, thank you so much. You do get actually something. So people who are participating do get a goodie from us. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. Great. Any other questions for Deepak? Yeah. You want to come here? Yeah. Your name and then the question.
Hi, my name is Deepika. You mentioned that there is a possibility that if we push a notification, a user might even uninstall it. So, how does it make a difference? In any case, the user is not using that app. So, what difference does it make that even if he uninstalls it? So, and do you use these kind of scenarios in the analysis which you do to figure out when to push the notification next?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, that if user is not using your app and they are uninstalling, what's the use of that user anyways? If user has the app installed and he's not uninstalled it, he's not the user, you still have one opportunity to bring him back, right? If user has uninstalled, then you're again spending money to bring him back. So that one opportunity is that push notification, and what is that message which goes to that user? That's what that is the science which I was talking about. I need to study what that user was doing, And what, even if after that he uninstalls, obviously my science was flawed or that user was definitely not interested, that's a separate story, but at least I've got one opportunity. I need to maximize that and bring that user, try and bring that user back.
And do you even include such cases when you analyze when to push the notification next? I mean, is it considered a part of?
Oh yeah. So when is very, very important that, of course, you can't send a push notification at 12 o'clock in the night, right? You can't send at, let's say, 11 o'clock when everybody's at their peak productivity and they're trying to, finish their work. So time is very important. And also there are some generic rules, like I mentioned 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning. And then it also depends on your app. If it's a news app, you need to send push notification ASAP, because if it is news and usually somebody is interested in, let's say, cricket score, they need to know there and then. And also, you also need to look at the behavior of your users. So all these tools which for example, Urban Airship, which is a push notification tool, it actually tell you the best time. So tools are doing the work for you. Best time, the most users would open when they click on push notification and open your app. That's the best time for you to utilize. So that is app specific, and then there are some general guidelines about when not to send.
You mentioned like the Paytm and free charge example which you gave, that that you as a marketer manager can push in the keywords free charge in the reviews. So every time you push in free charge, aren't you losing the opportunity to write Paytm?
Somebody's very subjective feedback. This app is not good. Ye nahi chalegi.
It's static. It's not anything related to gaming. It's not dynamic. It's not colorful. So
Those are again, those are, so you need to, okay, there are going to be a lot of users who will give you such vague feedback. You need to read between the lines and see somebody saying it is not colorful. That means they don't like the UI. That means, they are comparing your app with some similar app which they find better. Just ask them which is the other app which they find better. They may not be able to tell you, okay, you introduce a blue color in your app, but they might tell you they like, let's say, that particular app. So you get some hints from there. So you need to extract that feedback from your friends.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you so much, Deepak. If there are no more questions, guys, we're going to actually go to our panel now. And I know that Deepak also has to leave. He has a meeting. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to kind of share it with us, and we'll have Deepak answer it on a forum on our GBG G Plus page. But thank you so much, Deepak. Thank you so much for this. Lovely having you here. Thank you so much. To reintroduce the group after this very, very exciting session with Deepak, we have Ambrish Gupta here, who's the CEO of Nolarity, and we have Harsimran Julka here, who's the senior journalist with Economic Times, but I'm going to have him do his proper introduction. So, Harsimran.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. So, thank you guys for joining us here. Is it on? Yeah. So, how many of you actually want to start up something, maybe not today, but maybe 6 months down the line or a year down the line? Okay, great. So that gives us a profile of the audience, and the rest they always want to work for a company. Is it? Okay. So yeah. So I write on startups, and we as Economic Times are also encouraging startups. We have a Power of Ideas campaign where we actually fund.
Courtesy again of Nolarity's generosity today. Free beer and booze for those who want to drink, and free tea and coffee for those who want to retain their sanity. So we have those also. But I'm going to get started with the panel discussion. At any point of time, if you have any questions, just kind of raise your hand and just tell us your name and the question. Okay, great. So my first question is going to be really to Ambrish. Ambrish, as somebody who's into the technology world, I mean, what does omni-channel marketing really mean to you?
I mean, as the name suggests, it's a multiple channels to market to your target through a face-to-face or physical channel as well. If you're talking about the banks or retail store, or McDonald's, for example, right? So there are like 4 or 5 with any brand, any company now, and the omni-channel marketing is just figuring out when to say what through what channel.
Thank you so much. Harsimran, from your perspective, from a media background, I mean, for a startup, how do they break through this noise and then look at, let's say, omni-channel? I mean, so for instance, do they go for, they're on a shoestring budget here, the understanding or the expectation is this, they're on a shoestring budget, do they go for paid marketing? Do they go for content marketing? Do they go for omni-channel marketing, or do they do bits and pieces of everything? I mean, from your perspective, what would work?
Sure. So I think they have to do bits and pieces of everything. But first coming back to omni-channel marketing, if, for example, if you're an online even if you're an offline player, say you're making these glasses, now if you're making these glasses, then obviously you have to market it everywhere now. There is YouTube, there is Twitter, there is Facebook, and then there is offline medium, where there's digital media, there's print media, leveraging the media. So my advice to, who has lakhs of rupees, over 10, 15 lakh rupees, a nationwide coverage, which a small startup can't afford. But if you build key relationships, obviously, and there should be some differentiator for sure. If there's no differentiator either in you or in the product, you're not going to get media coverage anyhow. So have some key differentiator, build some good relationships with online blogs, not only in India but also globally, and also with the TV and the print people. You're going to get a lot of mileage across the spectrum of till your company survives. You'll need them till you.
Security. And we are going to announce our product in January. So sir, how to publicize that, how to market that, so that people would get aware of our product, and how to reach out to customers that our product is for your security, for your safety. So sir, what is the procedure?
Happened, some crime has happened, or some say app related to Sachin, say Sachin is getting retired or something, or Sachin hit a century or something like that, very, very topical. It definitely gets played up in the media. So how to go about it is, there are 3/4 ways that you can go about it. It's do some research across and try and find out, there are a lot of websites which can give you free resources on how to contact journalists, and there are some email IDs already available on the internet across India, of key journalists who are covering this kind of space. Then you can also go to Business Wire and PR Wire. These are global agencies which actually you have to write it down, or they also write your pitch down, and for a cost, obviously. It might cost you 10 or 20,000 rupees.
So just to add something on there. One is definitely you have to do your research. For instance, there's already a tool actually in Gujarat. The news was shared, I think, about 3 to 4 months ago. So you might want to look into that. It's again a women's safety wearable device that was launched. But a good way to actually break into the news is to let the end customer also talk about it. So go to women colleges. Give out a couple of samples to them to actually try it and feel how it is, and have those. Create videos. I mean, you have a smartphone, pretty good quality. Create those videos, post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter. Let them talk about it. Tag journalists in them. Tag media houses in them. And once they start picking up the story, it does get noticed. People will want to talk to you, and like
Twitter, make videos. So we are making that, but we are not getting enough public to see that thing that we are creating that. So sir.
Days, and if you're not able to fulfill that, you're not able to showcase the product properly, and there are product issues because you've already not tested it, then actually that momentum is going to turn negative for you. And it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is just another product that came out, and kind of fizzled out.
I think that's very important. Before you do advertising, you need to go through this whole phase of couple of months of having beta customers who can try out your product, give you feedback, and give you money also. You should take money from the beta customer, because when you take money from people, they become more honest in giving feedback, and they might actually not even buy it, right? They say that it's not worth it, right? So build it up in the lab first before you launch it on the road.
But I'm glad that you're kind of thinking in that area, because that is something that we do need right now, unfortunately, like we said, in this country. So that was very insightful, actually, Harsimran, in terms of the way the media is kind of looking at it. Amrish, you're in a very crowded space, kind of cloud telephony. I mean, how do you make sure that your company utilizes the multiple channels of marketing, and especially because you're into B2B, correct? So which channels do you feel add more value to you in your company's end goals rather than, let's say, some other channels?
For us, web is pretty important. People are looking for, especially businesses who are coming online, they are looking for specific solutions. For example, toll-free, EPBX systems, virtual numbers, and all those things. So we are able to capture demand there. We also use telesales so there's specific targets, segments of the customers we have identified who we believe should buy our product. So for example, anybody who is doing marketing, so we are able to find out people who are doing businesses who are doing marketing and call them up and say, you can use our product for free. Based on the usage, we are able to tell whether they use this product. So using this web and the channel partners as well, and telesales, so the three methods to acquire customers. Just launch a beta mobile app as well, which is meant to offer a limited set of the functionality that we offered on the phone number, on mobile phone, and some interesting stuff there, so that we can engage large number of customers and convert them. We offer some other free services, for example, Super Conference, right, which is free conferencing, audio conferencing bridge that we offer to businesses. Typically Tata and Airtel would cost them like 2 rupees per minute, but all the startups here, actually, they should use it if they want to do conferences. Again, it's free. So these free combination of free web, the mobile, old-fashioned channel partners, and the sales force is it's a pretty diverse set of marketing strategy that we use to reach out to our customers.
So I think for a B2B company, and for some of the facts that Ambrish just mentioned about really how omni-channel marketing, while it's very interesting, but it has to really be tempered around your business strategy, around your business plan. Don't go by buzzwords, don't go by what competitors are doing. I mean, you can learn from the competitors, but don't just blindly follow them. It has to really be dovetailed with your strategy. We do have 2 questions here, so I'm going to take that one. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gitansh. I'm currently in my final year of BTech. My first question to Harsimran sir is that, have you ever come across any company or any product that has applied every tactic for omni marketing, but they even failed after that?
For your own sake, but just because it is cool to be an entrepreneur, see the problem in the market, solve a customer pain point, whatever the problem is, solve that problem, feel the customer pain. Unless and until you feel that pain, your product is not going to be successful. Yes, there should be a problem in the market which you are going to solve. Otherwise, yeah.
Can I just add one thing on this? So, apart from having all of those things, you also have to remember that there is a cost of marketing. And when you're doing omni-channel marketing, that cost is getting multiplied 5x, 10x, however channels you're using, right? So, there are companies which had great products also. So there's just like he mentioned about a Silicon Valley company, there's a company called Fab.com, which was the darling of e-commerce just about a year back. It was the most heavily funded e-commerce company in history till that time, had raised $1 billion. Now it is trying to sell itself for $100 million. So you can imagine the fall. The point is that you can also burn yourself very, very fast in marketing. We know that we are seeing that, whether it's aviation in India, whether that's e-commerce in India, these guys are burning cash like crazy. So omni-channel marketing is only going to accelerate that process. So you have to make sure that your strategy, your vision, apart from having a product, is also very clear on how much do you really have realistically to burn through. If you go completely burn it out and your revenue is not backfilling it fast enough, even if your product is great, you will not survive for long enough to have a company which is lasting. Okay. Yeah.
There are 2 ways right now in India which we are seeing. I think Ambrish might agree. One is to take outsiders, someone else's money and burn it up and then say that you're doing a great business. And other is to build a real business which creates wealth. Amrish might have something to say. He's got funded multiple times.
I think if it is worth investing, I would say, outsider money you might be able to get little easier, because they might be comparing China with India and saying, China e-commerce has happened. Look at Alibaba at $200 billion. So India, Flipkart at 11 billion is still it's pretty good deal, right? And eventually it will become $200 billion, and time will tell whether they were right or they were wrong. But definitely a very strong value proposition in terms of in e-commerce being able to provide the category of products out to Indians who never really had access to such a category. So I think that is quite powerful thing, combined with the middle class that is coming up in India. People have disposable income. So, but you never know. You never know like how it happens. It might be another .com bubble. Coming. Yeah, no, I think now it is just a capital game, and if you look at in US also, it's a consolidation has happened. Amazon ate up everyone. In e-commerce, the incrementally adding another customer costs very little. So whoever wins just wins big time. So I think that is going to be the case, and I think now it's a war between Amazon, Flipkart, and Snapdeal. Let's see what end up being, but I think one thing is sure, that everybody is going to get product at a very cheap rate. So you please buy stuff on internet. Coming back to the question that you asked, how Knowlarity got started, right? And the initial hurdles. So this is my second venture. My first venture failed. It's 2004. I came back from US and I had $40,000 in my bank account. I tried to start a rent.com kind of company, apartment brokerage on internet, doing exactly what housing.com is doing now, which is take a video of the apartment, put it on internet, and couldn't get funding, couldn't run it through, and just kind of, so after 1.5 years, we kind of just packed the bag and went back to US. So this is my second venture. So definitely have hurdles that I experienced in the first one and the hurdles that I experienced in the second one. I think the biggest hurdle that comes is your own conviction. If you have a plan B, then you're not going to succeed, because it's going to be a pretty difficult journey. So first, burn your boats. And it's psychologically, it's a very difficult thing to do. You want to stick on to your job while you're doing it. Right, you got to give your 100%, 200% if you can, to be able to make it success. Second is have an idea which is kind of real idea, and not what I call feature versus idea. Idea is something which fundamentally is glued to something changing on the ground. There has to something fundamental changing on the ground, which makes your idea become successful, which was not possible 3 years back. So, for example, everybody having smartphones, that changes your target market. People having disposable income in India, that changes the target market. The VCs being bullish, being able to invest large amount of money, that changes the situation. So you should be able to make use of something that has changed in the larger environment. And if you're not using it, the question that you should ask is why not? Why didn't somebody else do it before? There are very smart people who have come before you, right? So why did they not do it? And the answer, if the answer is, well, the situation was different then and situation is different now, then it's a good answer, and maybe the idea is good. If the answer is, well, they were stupid, they didn't figure it out, I think you have to think harder. So the first hurdle is, as I said, that you have to be able to commit. Second is the idea has to be solid. Third is I think for execution you need to have the team, and you should not start alone. You should always find 1 or 2 people who are as foolish as you to start with you. And I think that's a litmus test. because in the journey you'll have to go and convince your customers, you have to convince employees, you have to convince investors, you have to convince all kind of people, and your family. So if you cannot convince another person who are willing to give 50% of the company, and still if you're not able to find anybody convinced, then maybe you're not probably not going to be that successful. So build up a good team right in the beginning, share your equity, and then do a prototype, right? Have initial set of customers, test them out, raise investment more than you think that you should, right? So if you think that you probably can get away with 10 lakh rupees, right? Raise 50, because you're always far widely more optimistic than the reality. So 10 lakh rupees, you'll fail a couple of times and you'll burn out. So do that. It's a journey, is the process of risk mitigation. Mitigate your risk even if your reward is smaller. So I think that's a typical hurdles that come in. Of course, everybody come with their own hurdles, right? But this kind of hurdles that I came across when I was building Knowlarity.
Thank you. We have just one question, then we'll come back. Yeah.
My name is Himanshu Gupta. I am from e-commerce market. My question is that how to earn trust on an e-commerce market? If you are a startup, why customer choose you? So what kind of marketing strategy is good to earn his trust? Is that good to go always with the offers or do something else? That's my question.
I think it's a product experience. It's pretty whatever works in the real market, real world. My experience has been the same things work in the e-commerce market as well. Flipkart always have had amazing service, right? Customer service, and they have never stopped working on it. You click and there is a one-click checkout, and then you have cash on delivery, right? You have the person delivery estimate being 3 days. The product shows up in 1 day. It's many times lower than what you could get in the physical market. So it's just the value of the product, and the value of the product is good. You're going to go and tell your friends that you got such an amazing deal, and that is how things. Nothing is a better marketing tool than the product itself. So I think you might, in the absence of marketing, you might start slow, but it will quickly build up. And if the product is not good, irrespective of how big a flash you do, it will die out. So, for example, Google never did marketing, right? Well, they make everybody market on them and pay them, but they never did marketing for themselves. It's while other companies were doing spending millions and millions of dollars on marketing. So, focus on product.
As Amrish said, the benchmark is now very, very high. As 3 days to 1 day, and so if you're doing the shipment in say 7 days or 8 days, you're somewhere lacking. So, if you really want to build a high-class e-commerce company, first of all, don't even try to compete with a Snapdeal or a Flipkart or a Amazon. You're going to die for sure. It's wasting 1.5 or 2 years and money. So rather you do something better in your life than compete with them. So do something unique. There are a lot of niches in the market which is still open. No one has started in those areas. To build those niche verticals, if you really wanting to get into e-commerce. Secondly, price is not the factor. People think that India is a very, very price conscious market, but India is a very quality conscious market as well. If it is a good quality product, and it's available on your site only, and you're offering as best the service that Flipkart is offering, and it's not available anywhere, then you are going to build some kind of traction for sure. And why investors come into this kind of niche verticals right now is because they think that they can get money out of you. First, if they invest say 1 or 2 crores, they can get that out say 3 or 4 years down the line if you are a acquisition worthy company. That's the only way to get money out, because you're not going to do IPO like a Amazon might or a Flipkart might, if you're a niche e-commerce company. So 2-3 things, don't even try and compete with a Flipkart or Amazon, and Sure. And secondly, try and achieve the benchmarks that they have created for customers, because that has become the most valuable criteria right now when people buy online. Thirdly, if you can do with the app based approach, it's going to be very, very good for you.
Thank you so much. We have a question first here, and then we'll come to you.
My name is Manish, and we publish some educational books for educational institute and provide some educational solutions, provide some services to educational solution. My question is for Amrish. We are working our business by the name of Education Campus Media Private Limited. One of our employees started same business by the identical name Education Campus Info Media Private Limited, and Ministry of Corporate Affairs approved that name. So it's a government matter, we can't do anything on that, and that was very critical position for us at that time. The same is someone is starting cloud telephony business with the identical name of Nolaris Communication, and he is saying that we are better than the Nolarity Communications. So how you are handling this situation, if maybe you aware of about that? So how you are handling this situation, any person or any company who is trying to using your credibility or brand name?
Lawyers get lawyers, sue them. So, well, that's why there are copyrights, trademarks. So we are not suing them because their name is Nolaris. We are suing them because they use super receptionist.
Even if you see their proposal, the content of the proposal, what you send to your client is same. The precise amount of change नहीं किया है.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, and that's why they get sued. So legally speaking, it's a pretty stupid thing. So I think even if you don't sue, they probably just die themselves. So there are trademarks and there are copyrights, and I think government is pretty strong on that. For example, you don't see Pepsi being copied, right? Nobody comes to you saying that, well, we are backed by Pepsi, because when people did actually in the beginning making fake Pepsis, and then Pepsi would sue them for copying the Pepsi copyright or Pepsi brand name. So for that, the legal situation is pretty strong and pretty articulated in a very concrete terms. So if you in your brand, for example, the brand of the product that you're selling, if it is copyrighted and they have copied that brand name as well, then you can sue them. The name doesn't matter, right? Because there are limited number of names out in English vocabulary, right? So government cannot do anything. But for the if you're copywriting a particular brand or copywriting particular image, then nobody can use it, and you have a lot of control over it. That is one thing. Second thing is we also don't go after every little guy who tries to copy us, because if our business model is so copyable, right, maybe we deserve it. We know that it is not copyable. There's a lot of technology that goes into building up this product, and very quickly, customers are not stupid, right? Small businesses, anybody who's running a small business in India, they're very smart people. Only smart people survive. Everybody else dies, right? So if you're running a small business, so they're going to figure out. So it just kind of balance out, right? First, with small guy, if somebody is doing many times, we just ignore. If it's just too small. If somebody is being really going very hard at it, right? We take a legal option. It's perfectly all right.
Great. Yeah, we have one question and then one question more. Yeah, you want to come here and? Okay, great.
Tell me. Yeah.
For the GBG offer, you have to attend 12 GBG events to get the 12-month GBG offer free with Nolarity.
Okay, sure. So, first of all, what does it do? The product. Okay. Okay. I know. Sure. Great. So I think in this, both offline and online marketing will do good. Start with offline if you can. Go through schools, and also there is, My City for Kids and those kind of platforms which already have some kind of integration with a lot of hobby things. Making. No, there's no one as a competitor in the sense, you can always be a cooperator. If you can offer something better to them, then they can also, always be in touch with you. There can be synergies between the both. But I think you can start with the offline and then simultaneously build an online marketing through Facebook, Twitter, and also, approach parents. There is, Facebook ads, I think, is a very, very good medium where you can actually pinpoint married and, the couple age and all that stuff, and then you can target couples through that through the Facebook medium. It's a very, very targeted platform that you can use for the ads. So I think it'll look really good if you can, start with offline, and also do the online piece accordingly. Sure.
Ambrish, I think there was a question for Ambrish also, right? Okay, great. Oh, okay, great. No issues. We're just going to take one online question and then we'll come back to the other people who have asked the question. Yeah.
Hi, so this question is for Ambrish, and there's this gentleman, Mr. Prakash, who wants you to throw some light on how to present to a VC, some good ideas, and how to make your brand stand tall in front of a VC while you're pitching.
So just to reiterate, the question is for Ambrish from one of our online viewers as to what really makes for a good VC presentation and how do you make your company stand tall in front of the VC. So, yeah.
I think it's very complex, a difficult question really to answer. There's no recipe. I think really best way to secure venture capital funding is it's not presentation. The story starts long before. So fortunately in India today we have a pretty developed ecosystem, startup funding ecosystem, and everybody in the ecosystem is working to make company successful for the next stage, because that is when the money multiplies. So the very first stage is for example accelerators, which will give you probably like 10-15 lakh rupees, and then you have angels, probably give you 1 crore rupees, and then you have larger angel groups which give you probably $1 million, and then you have VCs which give you Series A of $5 million or so, or $10 million. I'm just giving very rough numbers. And then Series B probably $30-40 million, and then Series C and acquisition potential $100 million plus. at every stage when somebody is putting in money, they are thinking what is going to happen 2 years from now, right? 1.5 years now, when I'm going to be part of the company and going to try to pitch to the next guy, right? That is how Flipkart has gone from $1 billion valuation to 11 billion in 1 year, right? So same holds true for you guys as well. I think the best is not having to learn how to pitch to a VC, but get those people who have been pitching to the VC become part of your company, right? And then they'll think for you. So accelerators have a lot of experience, right? Doing that. You go there, your idea may be X, and then they might help change it to something which literally becomes more useful for angels. When you go and if you are successful in taking angel money, right? When they work with you for next 1 year, they help change your idea and change the format in a way that it becomes VC ready, right? And then of course, the VC looks at it, and then the PE private equity companies look at it, and this is how it grows. So it's not about the presentation. It's about who you grab to come with you, who can in next 1 year help you become prepared. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? And most important thing is finding right partners who will help you go to the next step. You can't learn everything yourself. It's just impossible. It's just way too complex. There's too much information, and it needs to move way too fast. You can't do it everything yourself.
Thank you so much for that. We did have a question, yeah. So I think you raised, yeah.
So how do you plan your investment? Like when to look for formal investment? What's the right time?
When you're about to run out of money.
Or when you don't have the money. The one is that when you're about to run out of money. See,
Don't have the money initially as well, but there are two sorts of investments, informal and formal. So when to go for, like when you really want to pitch with, I guess what I think that you should go for formal investment, but at the same time there's sort of psychological pressures which I've heard about when you go for formal investment.
sure. It's a very good question. So, like, your question you're asking about the life cycle of a startup. Typically, what people do is when they are working for some company, they start kind of toying with an idea, right? And then they start making a prototype, right? And today the cost of building up a product is so low, right? Or especially minimum viable product is so low that you can just build it up in your free time, right? Or take out time, nights and weekends with a friend, build it up something, and then you launch it, and you iterate until you have some traction, right? For example, in the app is talking about more than 10,000 downloads. So some way to prove that you're on to something useful and not something useless. It's something that if the investor were to put money, they'll probably make $1 billion, not $100 million, not $10 million, but $1 billion. Nobody's interested in taking a venture, going through a venture which is $10 million venture, right? So you need to show some traction about something that can become really, really big. And traction doesn't have to be money; it can be visitors and bunch of other things. Well, then VCs are not interested. Well, you can fall them to. Well, they had hope when they started to make $1 billion. So they were on to $1 billion. Well, they hit only 200. Well, that's not a bad thing. But right from the beginning, nobody is going to, for example, fund you to build, let's say, a better, I don't know, scooter, right? For example. Actually, scooter might be $1 billion idea, but let's say chain of restaurants, right? Now that's kind of not $1 billion idea because there's so many chains already there. What is your differentiator? If it's a regular chain of restaurants, like, people will not be interested. So it has to be, as I talked about in the beginning, must be riding something some underlying trend. You're saying, well, 4 years back nobody had a smartphone. Today everybody has a smartphone, right? So what was not possible earlier, which is, let's say, railway ticket booking on a smartphone, today is possible. So earlier it was only people who could access internet. Today it's like 10x, right? People. So I'll make such an awesome rail ticket booking system with everything integrated that it will be 10x better than the regular methods, right? So a $1 billion idea has to it has to be $1 billion idea. Hope 1% chance of $1 billion, not 99% or 90% or 50%. So yeah, but it's just that they think that their chances of success is like 99.9% you'll fail. So they calculate that you have 0.01% chance of success. That's why they give you only 10 lakh rupees. Yeah, because that's the one they think that has 0.1% chances. Everything else they think is 0.001% chance. So so they want to invest something big, and the reason is they're not going to be with you. Accelerator typically are not be with you for the whole journey. Probably they'll sell out in Series A. They are not looking for $1 billion, but they need to convince the VC that it's a $1 billion idea, right? So that's only then VC is going to put money. But the money that VC is going to probably put is like $10 million valuation, right? So and that at that time they'll exit, which is 2 years time period. So it's a relay race, right? One guy needs to run and go give the pass it on to the second person. Now coming back to your question about when to raise investment. So I said you do the prototype and you go to, let's say, accelerator or friends and family, right? You raise a little bit of money and then you go to the next level where you are able to have some beta customers and you can show that customers are actually willing to pay money or some other mechanism of traction. And that is when you can go to angels, and the angels give you even more money. Your team becomes bigger beyond founding team, right? You have 1 year or 1.5 year worth of money. ₹1 crore will last you, 1.5 year or so if you're burning 5 lakh rupees every month. And then you go to, after angels, you go to VC, right? Saying that, well, I have, I'm making money. I need to scale my revenues, right? And then from Series A to Series B, where you have to demonstrate that you can actually make profit as well. So it's a relay race. Everybody wants a different thing, but you literally 5 companies that are coming in a stage, 4 will fail, right? And 1 will go to the next level. So let's say 100 start at accelerator, right? Probably angel, 25 reach. Then from angel to VC, 5 reach. From VC to PE, 1 reaches. Out of that 1, again 0.8 fails, right? 0.2 reach to the next level. So that is how this whole thing works.
I'm just going to bring Harsimran onto this question because you talked about the media funding and I think you have the ideas program, right? So it would be great just if you could share some insights.
Yeah. First of all, when you don't have the money, then actually, as he rightly said, there are 3 Fs, friends, family. I mean, father-in-law is very distant for you, obviously. Yeah, fools. So get some people to actually, in the family or friends or someone to actually pool money. And like housing started with 12 co-founders. They 12 people started one company, and Alibaba also 17 people pooled in some 80,000 yuan, and then they started that company. So you do it like that. And then coming back to your question about media houses, yeah, we have a thing called Times T Labs, which is an accelerator which we do fund 10 lakh rupees in a startup. But there are a lot of applications which come for that, and there has to be differentiator and obviously a scalable model. And fortunately, we are sitting in a country where there are 1.2 billion people. So scalability is not an issue if you think big. The idea should be thinking big, so that everyone can make money in the process. Whoever funds you actually gets multiple times the return, and you can do it. Fortunately, we are here and we know this market very well, because if you're building a product for people like us, then we know what the customer pain point is. So that's what it is.
Yeah, so we'll just finish with this question. Yeah. In fact, I'm just going to take that one. So it's a good thing that you're starting on the legality part right off the bat. I always recommend to a lot of people that don't go for proprietorship because there's going to be personal liability right from day one. You are going to obviously have to spend a little bit of money, but going private limited is the best option. The amount of money you'll spend to get a private limited company off the ground is not beyond 30,000 bucks really. And if you get a good CA or a good lawyer who can do it, you can probably get it done even for less than 20,000 bucks. But that's about the cost that is there for you. Yes, that's a fixed cost. No, so you don't have to really pay anything. All you have to do is make sure that the minimum level of compliances are being met. So which means your quarterly filings are done. And that's not really a lot of fee. In fact, those costs will only go up if your revenue base goes up because it's completely tied to your revenue. So it's actually going to be a good sign if you're paying more on those part, that your revenue is going up. So for instance, if your revenue touches 2 crores or above or 1 crore and above, then you have to have an IT audit done and all that stuff. So get a good lawyer, get a good CA. It's an investment that will pay off in due course of time. And just like how Manish mentioned, and they mentioned, I mean, taking care of it right off the bat is actually going to help you in the later stage, so that nobody kind of takes off your trademark, nobody runs off with your copyright or your content. Invest in data security. I mean, you would have heard about the Sony hack. You need to make sure that your system, your substructure is set up completely, because if that foundation is weak, you're going to falter as you go on.
Um, so I'm not a patent expert, so you take it with a pinch of salt. But my understanding is that if you patent is pending, you have some level of protection. If somebody goes and files something which is exactly similar, because it's on record now that this particular patent, this particular whatever you're patenting, right? You are the one who come up with that first. But patent is not the only way to protect things, right? You have copyright, you have trademarks, which are far quickly copied, right? So patents are typically in most of the SaaS, especially for us, cloud companies. The technology is in the back end, right, which nobody sees. So it's very difficult to copy. So what we ended up, I think you can use copyright and trademarks far more aggressively than you do patents. And patent, you do patent pending, right? But I think that is even less at risk given it's all technology in the back end.
Okay. What? There's another one for Harsimran.
So the next question is for Harsimran. When you start a startup, what part of your budget should go into marketing and advertising and media?
When you start a startup, a product or service, a product, say, I think almost 80% of your, because you're a startup, 80% of your money should actually go into your product itself. Build a robust product. There are a lot of free marketing tools you can do. Free marketing. You don't require too much money for that, and don't burn yourself out with the marketing. Spending too much on marketing, and because then you have nothing left for the runway. So generally, what is advised for all of you who are planning to start up is also keep 18 months of savings or something in the bank before you actually go and take the plunge. Build a prototype ready till you're working in an office or somewhere, but keep 18 months of savings because that is the normal period when you'll start making any kind of revenue, or you might generate some kind of investment, outside investment. So yeah, so that is it.
Questions now from here. We have a lot of hands going up. Yeah. Go on. We'll have to just speak a little louder.
What's my question? What's my question is what should be the ratio towards my effort in the marketing and improving my product? Like I should focus more on the product itself initially, and or what should I advertise it and marketize it on the social front or something?
If you market a bad product, your marketing, you're making your chances of success go down. So obviously you have to concentrate first on the product, and then marketing comes second. I don't know if Amrish will.
Totally agree.
Okay. We had a question at the back. Yeah.
I want to ask about non-traditional products that are not being fully sold online. Where free alternatives are available. So
Amrish, you want to take this first?
It's a difficult question. It's a very difficult question. Typically what end up happening is there are a lot of example of freemium strategies where you have free product, and there's very small percentage of the people pay to unlock or get some of the premium features. If that is possible, right, that would work out very well. Freemium take care of lot of people getting to know about the product and using it, and the paid allowed you to be able to run the to pay the bills. So you can consider that, right? Another possibility is, you take this product, right, and bundle it with something which is already distributed, right? And not charge the end customer, but they charge the the company that is bundling. Now that company has figured out, maybe in last 15 years, of selling getting paid for a product. For example, somebody who's selling a car, right? And you come up with a beautiful, very extremely beautiful, paint, right? You sell to the car company and not to the consumer, and that will take care of the problem. E-com, I think education is, while everybody wants free, but at the same time you see people line up in in front of good schools at the end, in every year, right, to just pay, and they don't take it. They don't take every single one of them. So definitely people can pay for the good product. You just have to figure out what is in your product that will make people pay in the education sector.
Can I just add one thing to it? So I think we know for a fact that education is going to be the field growing in India over the next 10 to 15 years, right? And therefore it will have to have non-traditional payment methods if you're specifically trying to go online with it. And there are some of them. So for instance, taking off from a bundling example, you can tie up with internet providers, bundle it as an app on the phone and charge actually the content provider, which is, let's say, an Airtel or a Vodafone. That is one. There could be other models where you're actually giving the free education, but you're charging for certification. That's a model which Stanford executes beautifully. I mean, they give you the free course. If you want a credit, if you want a degree, or if you want some credits against your name, you just pay a small fee, and that's how you do it. And the third could be really about tying up with the schools directly. Giving them content and actually freeing them up from a lot of the content issues that they face, because there's only as much as you can get, whether it's a CBSE or an ICSE or a college level, right? Even if you look at the technology landscape right now in India, in colleges also, we are still studying probably and I'm not a techie, so correct me, but I don't think anybody is teaching iOS or Android app making or anything of that sort in colleges, right? So if you're looking at that and you suddenly get that content into colleges, I mean, that's a huge upliftment that you're doing. And then you can actually go to the government and say, you know what, we will help you accelerate the pace of adoption of content, most up-to-date content, and there could be a revenue model somewhere in there. So you'll have to think very non-traditionally about it.
Prashant and Sameer, they're building a good product. But I'll tell you, this is a very interesting thing that just yesterday, my friend here in Gurgaon was, seething of pain. His knee was aching like hell, and he went to a doctor. Doctor told him some medicine. I told him, because Sameer and Prashant told me, it's a great app we are working on. Just download this app and, But then the Health Club Plus told them that we can only deliver it after 2 days. What's the point in having a medicine after 2 days? So the product is not stable enough. So the thing is that they should first, it should be stable enough, and everything. The beta phase should be over. Only then there should be a lot of advertising and marketing about it. There's no way tom-tomming about a product when. I'm not going to use Health Club Plus again, even though they're my friends, unless it is stable enough and is offering that kind of quality of service. Neither is going to be my friend, So it gives you a bad name. So credibility is very, very important.
We had some question at the back. Yeah, please go on.
You're talking about market and sales expansion. When you can, and it's a short answer. The longer answer is you have to look at the unit economics of the business that you're doing. Is your, let's say you're focusing on one college, is it profitable, right? For you, because if you go to others one and it's loss making, and if you do the same thing there, you're going to make more losses and you run out of business, run out of your savings. So one, is it profitable? Second, to make a college profitable, what all you needed, right? Do you have all those ingredients in place, which is basically means I don't know, there might be team, there might be some kind of content, there might be some procedures, right? So do you have all of those things ready and replicable to this next college? And a very important thing there is if you were very important person in the first college to kind of take it to the next level, if you are going to focus on the second college, who is going to run the first college? Have you make yourself redundant in this unit economics, because you are the biggest bottleneck, right? In the growth of the company. So if it is profitable, if unit economics makes sense, if you have all the resources available, if they are just by copying pasting to like 1,000 colleges, you can make 1,000 times profit. Why not just do it? You may have to buffer up something going wrong. Every time you do something like this, something goes wrong, colleges are not profitable, you may have to raise some investment, have to have money in the pocket. You do that as well, and then you go to the no, so if all these situations or all these conditions meet, which is rare situation, right? I think you should expand, and give some example, like the way taxi companies nowadays, they go to one city and then expand, and then go to another city and expand, and then that is how they do roll out new cities. Facebook is started in one college, right? And then it got, so they would not launch the college until there were enough requests from that college so that when they launch, it was a critical mass which allowed them to function as a good product. Social media, if there are 5 people in a college on their social network, it's going to be failure. So they wait for like some critical number, I don't know, 200, 300 people before they launch it. So all those criteria have to meet, and then you launch. So I don't know if I understood your question currently. So you're in one college and you're doing well. Is that right? And you want to go to another college, right? And you're making profit in the first college, right? So you expect to make the profit in the second college as well. Why don't you just copy paste whatever you're doing in first college in the second college? Okay, so you don't have second team. Oh, you don't have the team available for that. See, that's a difficult thing to do. Every time, if you want to grow from X to 2X and you need X to 2X people, then growing a team is the most difficult thing to do. It's the most difficult thing to do because your founding team is very passionate. You're working day and night. Right, the team that you hire there is not going to be that passionate. What worked here, they can perform, and then they copy that. So you don't have anything copyable. You can copy your founding team, right? So build up a non-founding team, your current college.
Idea in the college that you're targeting. I mean, find that one person, those 2 people who absolutely love your idea, who are in love with your product. They are going to be the ones who will lead that challenge in that college. Without that, like Ambrish mentioned, you can probably find people, but if they don't see quick results, their enthusiasm is going to go down there in college. As it is going to get sucked up into work, assignments, exams, right? and that entire momentum is going to get lost. So you will have to either get somebody who can be your brand ambassador there, or like Ambrish say, try to run this in your college without yourself, and then see if it is successful. Yeah. Do you want to add?
Yeah, it's exactly like what a startup when they don't have any money and then want to expand and hire a team, and obviously, so you have to convince them of your vision. So what's your vision? You have to be very, very clear about it. If they love your vision, they love your idea, they'll work for free. So you have to find those people. There are those people who love those things.
Okay, so we're going to take 2 more questions and then open it up for networking. Over tea, coffee, and beer. Yeah.
So when we launched Nolarity, there was no competitor. We started the industry. We actually for first 1 or 2 years was pretty demoralized by the fact that we didn't have any competitor. Actually, having competitor is very satisfying thing to have, because it validates you that you're worth copying. Otherwise, maybe just like totally stupid guy, right? Just doing random stuff. Nobody even bothers to copy you. When you go to VC or any investor, right, before VC we had bunch of investors as well. You have to have a differentiator, and you have to have a differentiator. If it is $1 billion company, it's going to grow very fast. It's not going to take 35 years. It's going to take 4 years, 5 years. It's going to take 5 years to build up a $1 billion company. You have to have something so compelling that it is 10x better than the existing way of doing things, right? Taxi, remember how difficult it was to book a taxi, and the guy who came, the taxi that you got in, how it smelled, right? How much it cost, the negotiation, the hassle, everything. The way currently it is being done is 10x better, right? So the Facebook way of connecting with your friends versus sending them email or calling them, right, is 10x better. So not only it has to be different, it has to be 10x better. And as I talked about earlier, it has to be founded based on something which is extremely, which a macro thing that has happened now, which was not there earlier, right? So you can have a confidence that even a regular person like you and me have stumbled into something exciting because the word changed, and the smart people earlier couldn't figure out because the word was different at that time. So you have to have various reasons to evaluate. It's best to kind of come up with an idea and not do it because it is failing in this, and come up with a different idea, versus doing something, spending 2 years and then failing, right? Because then the cost is just mounted up for you and whoever work with you. To summarize to your answer, have a differentiator. A differentiator is 10x better. Differentiator which is based on something compelling happening in the regular world. Demonstrate it by having existing customers, being able to convince a bunch of people to join you, having convinced a bunch of people to try you and pay you, and then you'll have investors listening to your story. Before that, it's going to be difficult, right? That's question number 1. And what is the question number 2? Well, pricing, if your product is 10x better, right? people will pay you 1/5 the price of existing way of doing things, and that typically end up being the pricing strategy. So for us, the way we decide how much it costs to have a hosted EPABIC system in the office, and we calculated around 2 lakh rupees per year in a very conservative, like even if the person is not spending too much money. And so we said 2 lakh rupees, so I think the price should be 20,000 rupees. And the way we deliver the technology at 20,000 rupees, we made 70-80% profit margin, right? So it was because it's superior technology, it was hosted technology, you can share a lot of things. So it worked, right? But we didn't launch the product at 20, we launched at 6. We launched a product at 6,000 rupees per year. But within 2 months, we realized that people are not price sensitive. So we tripled the prices from 6 to 18. And still people not price sensitive. Recently, we just, after 2 years, we again increased the price by another 50%, and now it's 30,000 rupees. But still compared against 2 lakh, right? So it's still very good deal, right? And it sells. So if you have a product which is 10x better, you have enough room to make money.
So one final question, guys, and then we'll, yeah, please. Yeah, our first woman, so thank you so much for that. Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so you want to develop develop an idea where there is no problem, right? Okay, okay. There is a potentiality of a problem emerging in the future, right? Right. Yeah, I think so. Then you should go about it and start developing a prototype and talking to, as he said, prospective customers and talking to them, getting their feedback, and then yourself and also the idea and also the product. So that's how you should approach it, like that. If you're really keen about it, go about it, develop a prototype, but listen to what potential feedback or potential customers are telling about it and tweak it accordingly. Because if you don't listen to it, then obviously, and which means that, and if there is no feedback, there are no customers, it will die down automatically. So don't let the baby die. That's what I get it changed. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much for that, everyone. It really has been a pleasure having all of you here and having this session first with Deepak and then with Ambrish and Harsimran. We're going to, kind of wrap up the session here. But after this, we have the networking session where please feel free to mingle with everyone, with each other, and with all of us. If you want us to do a specific event, we can do that. So, for instance, we actually did last year a complete event just on legalities for startups. But if you have any ideas that you would like us to kind of consider, just let us know. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.